Welcome back to the Currents podcast. We are here today at Velvet Witch. So excited to be here, Ashley. Thanks for having us.
Thank you. I am so honored to be here with you.
Yay. Can you tell us, for those who are listening on the podcast or on a social media clip that doesn't have the whole thing, where are we? Tell us where we are, what it's like.
Oh my gosh. Well, we are at Velvet Witch, my second and/or first home. And this is a space that I created back in 2016 was when my dream started. And actually after a trip to Salem,
Really?
I had a whole epiphany there. I came back. I was considered what we call a baby witch at the time. And I wanted a space that reflected me, to be honest, and everything that I stand for, but also to have people come in that were baby witches like me that maybe feel intimidated by classic shops. And that's fine. You know, I love a classic shop, but I wanted something a little different. I wanted something pastel and pretty and welcoming and something that made people feel like they came in and felt home. So that is kind of, I guess, where the vision began. And we're here on Colonial Avenue. This is my storefront. We have a cute little tarot booth in the back. We have a space where we also do healings right now in the back. And as you can see, we are crystal witches here. We love some crystals. And we have everything from local art, literally original art, down to local makers to you name it. I try to get what I feel represents me in here and what I feel my people will be connected with. So
love that. For those people who are tuning in and they're like, okay, what? Can you talk to us a little bit about what does witch mean?
Yeah.
And for that matter, Velvet Witch, right?
Absolutely.
Like, we'd love to hear the story behind that.
Oh my God. Yeah. There is definitely a story behind my name. I don't think I've ever told it out loud, to be honest. So there's 3 of us on staff, myself, Erin, who is our store manager. She's our aqua babe, our Aquarius. And then we have Liz, who is my social media manager. She is an assistant to me. She's great. She's a Leo babe and I'm an Aries. And we don't consider ourselves Wiccan or anything like that, which is more of a form of organized religion, if you will. We more consider ourselves a witch. And what that means to me is someone who is empowered, someone who does what feels right inside, who is authentic, who literally for us, it's about working with the elements of the earth, believing in yourself, empowering yourself, and doing that and spreading that to what I call the collective. So everyone else, everyone in the world, especially here in Norfolk. And I always feel that what you put out is what you get back. And so we try to teach that here, being authentic, healing, working on yourself will allow you to grow, and therefore that will spread and hopefully help heal the collective a little bit at a time. Velvet Witch for me is about a dream that I had as a child. I used to ride horses, and there is a 1950s movie called National Velvet with our Lord and Savior Elizabeth Taylor. And she is a teenager, and to make a long story short, she actually loves horses, and she manifests a horse that she ends up winning in a raffle. She works with a trainer to get this horse in a place where it enters this big race, and they hire a jockey who of course is a man, and the horse is not about it and she's not about it. And they cut her hair off, and she ends up riding this race, which is, I think it's called the Grand National, and she wins it. And she faints at the end when she crosses the finish line. And so they find out she's a female and she gets disqualified. But as you can imagine, she becomes famous, and she put this dream out there. She believed in this animal. Not only did she manifest winning this horse and having a horse, but she believed in herself to be able to do something, and she did it. And not only did she do it, she came out on top, literally. And so I always said that if I had a child, a little girl, I would name her Velvet. So when I started the store, this was literally my baby. I left my career of 14 years at the time to do this. So Velvet Witch sounded right for me. She's my baby.
I love that. So that's interesting to me because you talk about manifestation being a part of this. And when you mentioned Salem,
yes,
right? This kind of vision that happened. Yep. And then also there's like quite a lot of work that I imagine
Oh,
goes
yeah.
into all of this. That's like not the sparkly, you know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
the behind the scenes,
Oh,
like
man.
the real stuff. Can you just talk a little bit about all of that, the combination?
Yes. Well, when I was in Salem, I do think this is really cool. Speaking of manifestation, it was the weekend of October 4th of 2016. I left as a changed person. I've always had psychic and intuitive abilities. I remember when ghost hunters came out, I was like, oh, I'm a sensitive. I thought that's what I was. But come to find out, it's a little deeper than that. And so I was really kind of embracing these gifts. It was really hard for me to accept. When I was in Salem, I had all these things happen. I would walk by these places and then we would go on these tours. And what I said that I felt there was accurate. And what's cool is when I left, I was so determined in my mind to do this. And I had zero idea how. I was in the worst place in my life financially. I was in a career that I had been in for 14 years. And I put it in the air and kind of just left it alone. I was like, I'm going to do this. I don't know how, but I know I'm going to. And a year later, to the literal date that I was in Salem, we opened Velvet Witch at
Wow.
Selden Market. Yep. On October 4th, 2016, we opened. Yeah, it definitely wasn't easy. When I started, I was in the original Selden Market program in downtown Norfolk. It was really cool to be a part of that program. But about 2.5 years in, of course, I had no idea the pandemic was coming. I knew that actually my life was in shambles. And when that happens, I usually take some sort of risk on myself. And I made a change. My lease was up in February of 2020, and I knew that I needed to go somewhere different. I think I accidentally manifested this building. We drove by it at Christmas, and I was like, oh, that'd be great for my shop.
No kidding.
Here I was in February. I'm not even kidding. So, but it was really hard. It was hard. It's hard owning a business. And then also being a spiritual healer, doing what we do, helping the public. You know, witches were the healers of their tribes, of the villages, whatever. They were the people who stood up for others. I've always been a huge ally. I also wanted a space that LGBTQ plus community, and really, of course, anyone felt comfortable here. I've always been a huge part of that community. They've always embraced my little eccentric self, and they are my family. And so even working with makeup, I worked with a lot of trans women, and I just wanted that space. And so I got in here, and literally that week after I got into this location on Colonial Avenue, shutdown happened.
Wild. I can't imagine that.
I-
like really, here we are,
Right.
shut down.
It's funny, you know, when I started the business in 2016, again, I was kind of in this weird place and everything in my life was changing. Everything you can think of had changed at the end of 2019. And here I was doing this all by myself. I didn't have staff. I didn't have a website. And I thought, how the hell am I going to survive here? I had no idea. So I started doing $1 a minute tarot readings virtually. And that is how I survived. I did it for 3.5 months until I reopened on 7/11 in 2020. And when I reopened, it changed my life, not only with my clientele for readings. I didn't quite do healings yet until the next year, but it genuinely serves my soul. I don't know how else to say it. I feel like if someone can walk in my door and be inspired to do what I'm doing, or maybe see art on the wall and they're like, God, I need to get my art out there. Or they're having a hard time following their dream. I feel like if I can inspire someone or my girls, then I've done what I'm meant to do. This has never been about money for me. Of course, it's a business and it's my way of life.
right.
So, you know, I mean, genuinely, me having some sort of impact, especially on my hometown of Norfolk. Grew up here my whole life is what it's about. And I'm sorry if I got off on whatever the question.
No, I love it. So thank you for taking us on that journey.
Yes, my God.
It's so interesting to me, and hearing, like, it's a privilege of mine that I get to like hear different stories about people, you know, and opening their businesses. And when there's those threads of like purpose and passion, and then inside capitalism too, it's like,
Oh, man.
it's not about the money, but also we need money. And
We do.
It's like
Right.
this interesting conundrum.
Yeah,
I think we find ourselves in.
It is. And when I first opened the shop, I worked 5 jobs.
Wow.
5 to survive and pay my bills. And then I was able to actually make a living off of my own business finally at the end of 2020. I am so grateful. and just super gracious for where I am. Yeah. But yeah, it's definitely not an easy thing, my friend. It's funny. I woke up this morning at 7 a.m. and I was like, oh my God, my rent check didn't get in the mail for the shop. You know what I mean? Sorry. But yeah, I definitely it's something that is constant. You know, people don't realize how much behind the scenes there is doing the work that I do, working with energies. I've been called a spiritual therapist, which I'm very grateful for. But it is sometimes I take that home. People will tell me a story of their traumas or whatever they're going through. And I try to leave it here, but a lot of the times I take it home. And so working with, again, the collective and then also running a business is just, I feel like the ultimate challenge, but I'm grateful every single day for it.
Yeah, there's a bit of a trifecta. There's the what we're doing client facing, and then there's managing the whole thing. And then there's you as a human who also has needs and boundaries and all that. Yeah.
Right.
I get that.
Yes.
When you talk about, you've mentioned services and healing, readings, and then obviously we have the storefront too. Can you talk a little bit more about what these readings and services, what are they?
So what's cool about doing tarot during shutdown was I have always kind of struggled accepting my abilities. I've known that I've always had them. It's something that has been prevalent in my family that I've known about since I was a kid. And I grew up on historic land, lived out here, and then we moved to Suffolk in the 90s. And I experienced every kind of spirit you can imagine and energy out there. What's cool is tarot, literal tarot cards, allowed me to find confidence in my gifts. The images lined up with what I was receiving. And when I kind of do this motion, I receive on my right side. I don't know if it's because I'm left-handed or not, because some people receive on the left. And so it allowed me to gain confidence, because I'm here to tell you the cards are never wrong. So it allowed me to gain my confidence. And again, which is cool, when I was doing these readings, I have lifelong clients now from those readings in 2020. I have lifelong friends that I've made from that time too. And so, yeah, I do tarot readings here. We also have walk-in readings on Sundays and Tuesdays. I have two lovely ladies, Jan and Violet, right now that are my readers. But I do readings in the back. I do 45 minutes and then an hour. So it's funny, also during shutdown, I did kind of I guess I would call an experimental crystal healing in the back. I didn't even know what that was, but I had a friend come and sorry, Sarah, she laid on the floor and we did this kind of, I went into this deep trance. And what's really cool is when I do these healings, it's a little different than a tarot reading, where a lot of the times a tarot reading comes out where I can see a timeline for the person. But my healings are really cool. I go into this deep state of trance and I can see anywhere from past lives to ailments in the body to what they're going through to things in the future. Some of my favorite healings have been on pregnant women, and now I'm really connected with their children. It's really cool. And so we do all the services in the back as of right now, wink. And so it's really intense for me, but that is my soul work. I mean, I do have this beautiful space that offers really great things, especially, I know I was telling you before the podcast, we handpick all of our crystals here. I travel. I'm very particular about what I carry. But for me, the work is my healings and my readings to help further people's journey.
Yeah, I love that. So when people come in, do people come in typically with a question, with a curiosity?
Oh, yeah.
Or, yeah?
Erin she has been just an angel upon angels. Erin and I worked together at MAC Cosmetics for a million years before she came to work for me. And a lot of the times people will come in and it's almost like we give little prescriptions for them, whether it be crystals or herbs or simple advice on how to work through whatever it is they're going through. Or my favorite part is inspiration. Myself or my girls can inspire someone, then that's what it's all about. But people will come in and they may be going through something, or they have a job interview, or whatever the case may be, and we'll guide them in the direction of what they need to do as far as working with themselves. A lot of it though, especially now, and I know we keep mentioning 2020, but everyone has gone through so much the last few years. There's been so many transitions amongst people. And so people will come in with deep stuff. So sometimes it can be very heavy, you know, but again, we're here, we're grateful for it. And that's what we're here for. You know, that is literally what we are here for at Velvet Witch, for anyone to be able to walk in this door, not only feel at home, but to also come in and feel comfortable asking a question about their journey and what they may be going through. And that's what we're here to do. We're here to help them.
So cool. One of the things that you mentioned at the beginning when you were talking about like if people come in and then like empowerment was a big theme that I hear in that.
Oh, yeah.
And so I think both empowerment and then asking for help and asking for questions can get very intertwined. And in this kind of like world of navigating, right? Like it sounds like you have a value around inclusivity and community and that empowerment, so that you're coming in, you're asking for help. Ultimately, like you're in control. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And so can you just talk a little bit about kind of, I think it's maybe what it comes down to is like your ethics that come through that.
Yes.
Which I think is so important and so powerful.
Absolutely.
I would like love to just hear what you're connected to in that as you're holding space for people.
Man, I know you mentioned community. I'm huge on serving the community here. If I'm able to give back in monetary ways, I can, or just in general volunteering. Yeah. One of the things we recently done, so I'm a singer, I'm a professional singer, and sound has always been a big thing. We started doing community sound baths, and it's really cool because when we're playing, I receive messages from the people that are around. And so for me, as being someone that sound has healed me through my singing and literal voice, that has been I had to mention that, a huge part of Velvet Witch is doing these community sound baths. We have people that will have huge releases there and come back and say, the sound bath really changed my life, etc. But again, for me, I guess the ethics behind it is, like I said, inspiration, empowering, being non-judgmental. You know, I'll tell you, in my spiritual awakening, I call it, I had a moment in August right before we opened the shop in 2016 where I had this full-blown, actually it was the day on the solar eclipse where I started having visions in my meditations. And one thing that I think, especially with social media nowadays, is people are so quick to, unfortunately, judge other people.
Yep.
And that is something that I am absolutely against. I am here for seeing people as they are. Authenticity is my big thing. Being authentic, being yourself. If you feel like you cannot be that, then let me help you figure out why, to work through it, and then get to a place where you can be authentic so you can go literally live your best life. And for me, it's about lifting other people up. I'm very lucky that my right-hand lady is an aqua babe and she's an air sign and lifts me up and we lift each other up. And so lifting other people up, supporting other people, like you were saying, it's hard in the midst of capitalism. I mean, I think it's great. I'm like, come on, everybody be a witch. Yes, let's do this. But I do think there has been a trend moment. And so it's been hard to kind of keep up. But I think the ethics for what we all are here at Velvet Witch is what keeps me where I am. So inspiration, lifting other people up, inspiring people to do this exact same thing. Do what you feel is right. If you are in a job, if you are in a relationship that does not serve you, why? Why are you staying in it?
Right.
You can better yourself. So there is that energy that we promote here is to, do what you can. And I'm not sitting here saying that any one of us is perfect. We're all working through our shit. Right. You know what I mean? But also we kind of know what it is that you need to do to take that time and work on yourself. And especially with mental health being such a big thing now, and working through mental things in a spiritual way for me has been quite life-changing, which is why I'm here.
Double tap.
Right.
Truly.
I know.
Yeah.
I know.
That makes so much sense to me. And I appreciate the discernment that you're promoting, right? It's about building that muscle too, right? And finding that out. And you can't always find that. And I appreciate the mention too of like social media and all the things that are out there. So it just makes it even more important. And what a gift to have a place where you can come and explore some of this in real life here in Norfolk.
Thank you. Yeah. I'm very proud of the community we've built here. I've got things on the horizon. Eventually, I would love a larger space to be able to hold actual rituals. And one of the biggest things here is people come in and they're like, we're looking for coven. We're like, oh my God, yeah, we're here. We can be your coven, but I am limited to what I can do as far as space here. But again, we do these community sound baths, and we do have a big ritual right in the fall that we do at East Beach with a sound bath included.
Yep.
And that's always a huge turnout. And I love it because a ritual isn't necessarily, the magic is within us, period. And so if you believe, it's like that old saying that we all probably grew up with, you can do anything you put your mind to. I really believe that. I believe in, your thought process and speaking things into existence. But a ritual isn't necessarily crazy witchcraft. It's just a moment where you're taking time for yourself. I mean, we all have rituals we do in the morning or in the evening for ourselves. It's no different than that. For us, it's working with elements of the earth, herbs, crystals, literal, I'm a fire witch, like let me write something down and burn it. You know what I mean? Yeah. So a ritual is something where, especially doing it in a group setting, it's empowering because there's other people going through the same shit.
Yeah, it's so easy to feel so alone and everything too. And so having it sounds like intention.
Yes, and intention. Thank you.
The ritual and the togetherness is so important. Yeah. And it's very hard when we're isolated and on our own.
I know.
Both very practically and in emotional ways.
Right.
Yep. I love that. So
thank you.
Looking towards the future, if there's anything you want to share, you're welcome to, but no pressure.
Okay.
And how can we as locals who want you to succeed, how can we support you best?
Thank you. Well, I'll start with the support first. When I got into owning a small business, I came out of corporate America, and I'll tell you, owning a small business really changed my view on putting the money back into the community. I mean, obviously, except for grocery stores, when I'm shopping, I try really hard to stay local. It is so important because it is, like they say, you're supporting someone's family, you're supporting someone's dream. And here at Velvet Witch, not only are you supporting my dream, I'm going to support your fucking dream too.
Right,
you know what I'm saying? Yeah. I got you, boo. But what's cool, and so this is going to be the first time I've publicly announced this. So here we go. I've mentioned a few times that I've been limited to the services I can do here because of space. Our back room's great, but we do have to do healings at night because I'm funny about noise and sound, and we have to move all the stuff out of the back as of right now. But I have been really accepted into this community here in West Ghent. So I'm very grateful for that. And I have awesome neighbors. And there's a little house. It used to be, I think, a vegan restaurant, and it's been a couple of things, but right behind this house next to me, it's a cute little, it looks like a little baby witch house. And anyway, starting at the end of September, that is going to be mine.
So fun.
It is going to be a place where I do my services. I will not only offer more than what I'm doing now, I will offer actually some professional witch services, which is really cool. I've not done that yet. And then our sweetie Erin is actually going to be offering some services too. So we'll have sound baths. You'll be able to get a healing during the day. If you can't come at 7 on a, Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday. So I'm really, really, really excited about this. It's going to be a huge opportunity for us to expand. Again, I mentioned earlier that my services are literally my soul work, which is what I'm trying to encourage the collective to find what serves their soul. I will be able to do so many things. It will not be open to the public. It'll literally be, if you get a reading with me, a healing, a sound bath, or whatever I may be offering. Same with Erin. You would just pop over there. And so it's really, really great. I am so grateful to my neighbors for even offering it to me. They came over. I'd stepped on glass one night for when I was doing a healing, and they're doctors, and they came over with their little lights on their head and stuff. And they're like, "What are you doing here?" And I told them, and I'm like, "Yeah, we got to do this at night because, I can't do it during the day. I got to move everything out of the back." And so they came over and actually offered me this space. Yeah. So I'm going to probably tear up again, but I'm very grateful. I think it's really going to change not only my business, but what we offer here. I think Erin's going to come into her little spiritual awakening doing this work as well. And I'm just so excited to be able to offer what I have to give to the community and the collective to better their lives, better their journeys, inspire them, and help them work through what they're going through.
Amazing.
So, thank you.
Congratulations. I love that. Thank you for sharing with us first.
Thank you.
That is
Absolutely.
Huge. I love the synchronicity and just you being here doing what you're doing, then community is here and then they have something else. And the way that happens is just so beautiful.
Oh, it's awesome. Autumn Equinox weekend, the weekend of September 22nd, we're doing a huge event here. We're going to have vendors, and that's the weekend I will be cutting the ribbon per se.
Okay.
So we will have little baby mini tours. It is a very tiny home, so I can only fit 5 people at a time. So keep an eye out for that. Of course, we'll post it on social media. We'll have Psychic Sunday with a bunch of different readers here that Sunday, and then we'll have a bunch of local vendors on that Saturday. And I might even do a little VIP thing that Friday night where a lot of my repeat healing clients can come and see the space.
Amazing.
So yeah,
awesome.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Ashley. Thank you not only for this conversation, but thank you for being courageous enough to like take the steps to do the hard thing, to figure it out through a pandemic.
You're right.
And show up for your team and all those things. Like, sincerely, thank you.
Seriously, thank you. Again, it's what I'm meant to do. It's my destiny. I know it sounds cheesy, but it really is. And I embrace it fully. And I will do whatever I need to do to honor that. So thank you.
Love that. We're glad you're here.